What's going on, everybody? My name is Whiplash here once again to bring you another Korean Elite League game. For those of you who do not know what the Korean Elite League is, it is a month-long league in Korea where the best players play on a ladder for about a month, and the winner gets up to, I think, $250, and there is a $500 prize pool. And if you want to know a little bit more about the tournament, there'll be a link in the description for the KEL. So without further ado, let's jump right into the match. As you can see, it's a Captain's Mode game. These are just custom games played on the Korean server. All of these players generally are relatively high level, at least as far as the Korean scene is concerned. And most of them have some type of experience in Korean tournaments, such as the Fomos Dota League or the Nexon Sponsorship League. And there's a few other small tournaments out there as well that potentially some of these players have played in. There's a few people. The Puck is on not Bird Gang, and he's on Don't Die Remix, and Karn as well on the same team. The guy that has the Bird Gang logo on the Radiant side, that's actually a Tenbird, who's formerly of Startail. So, definitely a few people around here, and I'm sure there's a few more of them I missed. There's a lot of Smurf names and things like that. So generally, all these players are actually extremely talented. And if we just quickly look over the picks and bans that we see so far, Slark coming up is the first ban, followed by Clockwork. Slark, considered really powerful nowadays. He does seem a little bit like a Flavor of the Month hero, but regardless, a lot of teams choose to respect him. And then after that, of course, Clockwork, a great offlaner. I feel personally he's kind of second to maybe Timbersaw. Pretty even with Bristleback. That's just my personal opinion. On the other side, Visage and Alchemist banned out. Two very strong support heroes. Of course, Alchemist can duo in as the carry role in addition to his support role. So not a huge surprise to see him banned out. And beyond that, Mirana and Enchantress are getting scraped off the earth by the Dire side. And from the Radiant, they've taken out two pretty powerful mid-heroes in Kunkka and Viper. So looking at the picks, from what we see, Bristleback's the first pick, followed by Nyx Assassin and Chen on the Dire side. I do like the Bristleback pickup, and the Nyx is probably going to be helping out, doing some support roles, but with the Chen in the mix as well, he'll probably be going to jungle, and that could leave the mid lane actually open to the Nyx Assassin. But with an Outworld Devourer on the Radiant side, I'm not exactly sure how amazing that lane would go for the Nyx Assassin. There is time to go ahead and pick up a Razor to help out with that Outworld Devourer. So maybe they'll go ahead and try to pick some type of hero to deal with him in the mid lane. Timbersaw on the off lane, which can do pretty good against Bristleback. Of course, his first ability, Whirling Death, will reduce the max health of Bristleback by 15% for its duration. So that can be useful to kind of dealing with them. And also, let's not forget the combo between Outworld Devourer and Shadow Demon. They have two abilities that can synergize extremely well with the stun Split Earth from Leshrac. So that's a pretty cool pickup to see on their end as well. So Invoker is the fourth pickup for our Dire side. I guess they're going to probably send him to the mid lane against this Outworld Devourer. I guess you could kind of safe lane him and put a Bristleback in the off lane. There is still potential for this Bristleback to play more of a one position, a carry role. The last pick is going to probably tell us a little bit more on the Dire end, what exactly they want to do. And the last two bans, Pugna and Juggernaut for the Radiant and Dire respectively. So it feels like, overall they're missing a carry, the Radiant end, and the Dire side, I feel like their picks and their positioning is definitely it doesn't telegraph as much to the Radiant end exactly what they're doing. Alright, into the reserve time for Radiant end. Really thinking about their last pick. And we have a good amount of disable and slows from the Dire side. So what kind of hero would be good against that? Maybe Nyx could be decent against them. The Bristleback's physical damage, though, will be good versus the Rage. But they definitely could use some type of carry. A Gyrocopter's picked up as the last hero for the Radiant End. Pretty cool pick. So we will probably see him tri-laning with the Leshrac and Shadow Demon. They could even offensive tri-lane if they wanted it. There's a lot of offensive potential with this combo. And we could just see a Timbersaw end up in the safe lane as the solo, and Outward Devour, the OD, pretty much going to be mid. And with the last hero decided on the Radiant End, Dire at least have a bit of advantage to figure out, alright, we have their entire lineup, we see it, it's pretty obvious how they're going to do the laning situation, so what do we do to kind of get the bigger end of the stick when it comes to the drafting stage of the game? A lot of disables, removing heroes from combat, stuns on their end, and the Venomancer picked up as the last hero. Okay, interesting. So, with the Venomancer pickup, they could actually put Shen in the offlane. It's seen occasionally. Generally doesn't do too well, but it's certainly possible. And they could end up having that Bristleback as a position 1 safe lane carry. And without further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce these players. We have Sexer on the Timbersaw. We have Krieger as the Leshrac. Karn playing the Outworld Devour. Sky as the Gyrocopter. And last but not least, we have Shadow Demon, and that is played by, it looks like 2 C's, or a D or T-ish sound in Korean. Those are Korean letters. And that's going to be a 10-bird from Bird Game playing on that hero. I knew it was a Smurf ID. Karn told me it. And on the other side of the map, the Dire side, MP is on the Invoker. Kira as the Venomancer. Looking up here, we have Aranto as the Nyx Assassin, Lin on the Bristleback, and finally the Pak as Chen. So a little bit of pause. I'll just go ahead and fast forward through that, because this is just a recorded replay. You guys don't need the kind of sit around and wait for the pause. Alright, here we go. And as far as laning situations go, it looks like it is going to be a mid-Nyx Assassin. He has a Tango pooled to him, potentially a second one. Yep, Venomancer's decided to give him one of his Tangos. And, oh, we could actually... Maybe we could have duo lanes. I don't see that happening with this Chen, especially since he's picked up Holy Persuasion. Maybe he could even be doing a little bit of offensive jungling, which would be a little crazy, but possible. And if this looks like we're actually going to see either a gank attempt at the top early on, and they're farming the Timbersaw, which is really interesting. Or they're going to eventually come down to the bottom, or Gyrocopter will go back at top, but it looks like it's actually going to be a solo safe lane Gyrocopter versus a Bristleback, so that's interesting. Certainly not something we see too often. And it's just Chen is going to be chilling in the jungle, and the Nyx Assassin versus the Outworlds in the mid lane. So this is quite interesting. Definitely different laning situations. Uh-oh, this Invoker, he's in a little bit of trouble. Sixer, he's already picked up the Whirling Death early on, gets the stun as well. They're going to probably go for the Whirling Death combo, and that's an easy first blood. Pretty smart to see those heroes kind of hiding in the jungle and just waiting for that Invoker to get out of hand. So that's going to be very nice for this Timbersaw, getting a lot of farm early on. Still, it's a little bit odd that we have the Gyrocopter and the off lane instead of the Timbersaw. Generally, you'll see the opposite. But for now, we're going to have a lot of roaming supports. They've already smoked. They're moving towards the mid lane. Nyx Assassin has to be very careful. All Karn has to do is hit the Nyx Assassin with one Astral Imprisonment, and that's most likely going to be a death with the combination between the Leshrac and the Shadow Demon. Are they going to move in? Yes, indeed, they're moving in. But can they actually kill him? That's the real question. Oh, they're doing a good amount of damage to him. Spiked Carapace is going to be activated stuns a lot of those heroes, and juking into the forest, plus the help of the Chen should keep them alive, but actually, Chen getting really low on health. He's got to be careful. Oh, back in the top lane, Timbersaw enjoying the early small advantage he got from the first blood. Stealing a little bit of experience from the look of things, or at least trying to annoy the other side. Alright, we got a little bit of support roaming down to the bot lane. Look at that invisible body blocking, and he's going to go ahead and trap the Bristleback. Lots of stuns and DPS falling out. That's an easy 2-0. The roaming support combo between Leshrac and Shadow Demon has been doing extremely well so far throughout the game. Gyrocopter didn't even need to pick up his homing missile ability. So far, Karn doing a pretty solid job in the mid lane, but that's, of course, to be expected. He is playing the Outworld Devourer, generally considered to be one of the best mid laners in the game. And Timbersaw's going to have a little bit of a harder time against the Invoker Venomancer duo. Well, actually, taking a little bit of damage. That's a lot of damage, a lot of slow. But, I mean, Timbersaw, he is very tanky with the reactive armor, so he will survive. No, and it looks like, unfortunately, a missed gank attempt in the bottom lane. But they did manage to kill off the Bristleback once again. So the roaming support, starting in the top, tried to go towards the middle, didn't get anything there, but have gotten the double whammy in the bot lane. And, I mean, they can really take advantage of the fact that the Dire team, they have one of their heroes in the jungle, not able to help out too much. Did do a bit of assistance in the mid lane, but beyond that, it really just hasn't been the best scenario for the Dire end. And of course, the Courier just doing a little bit of bottle crowing action for that next assassin. He pretty much doesn't have any rune control at this point against a ranged hero, especially one that's dominating him in the lane. A little bit of Dire warding as well, to kind of give him a little bit of extra spotting. So that's always nice. Ooh, the Puck. He's smoked up, ready for a potential gank on mid lane. Is anyone else going to join him, though? The Nyx Assassin doesn't really have any mana, but here he goes in, gets the stun. Does he have the DPS? The finish off the Outworld Devourer. One more hit, can't kill him! And the kill is good. OD falls in the mid lane. Nice gank from the Chen. The smokes really being worth their weight in gold on both ends. And that also allows Nyx to grab the haste rune. He's almost level 6. I'd like to see him get that Vendetta ultimate for gank attempts, but he's just going to go ahead and move in potentially on the Timbersaw. We do have both of the support players on the Radiant end nearby to help him out in case anything goes down. Alright, well, whiff on the Venomous Scale. They don't get it, and we're going to see Nyx Assassin move back to the mid lane and a smoke move in from the Radiant side. Alright, they've decided to try the Focus Fire down the Venomancer. Stun into a Timber Chain. Easy kill. Easy rares, easy life. This is just a nasty combination. Because, you know, when you use that Disruption ability from the Shadow Demon, the Split Earth ability from Leshrac that's a guaranteed stun. It goes from a non-guaranteed stun to essentially a guaranteed stun. And the Chen, he has another Smoke of Deceit on him. Has decided to use it, essentially going towards that mid lane. Nyx doing a bit of harassment against the OD. He's already down to half health and actually needs to be a little bit careful. Nyx is out of mana though, so he won't be too effective. Okay. Puck, this would be the opportunity for the Dire end to get something done. He is revealed, gets a nice stun. There it is on the Leshrac. A little bit more DPS following it up. Disruption to kind of take the Invoker out of the picture, but just temporarily. Sunstrike doesn't matter. Double kill from the Chen. This is turning into a very, effective counter gank, essentially. Taking out both of the roaming supports, dishing back a little bit of the damage that was done to them earlier on in the game. Well, as far as last hits go, Gyrocopter's in the lead, 42 to his name. No signs of stopping. The Bristleback, I mean, Bristleback's somewhat tanky, but he needs a few items to get online, whether it be that Vanguard or the mech. He needs those core items, and woo! Actually, Sunstrike helps confirm the kill. The Park, worth his weight in gold. He is 4-0. You don't see that every day on a Chen. The ganks have been good. So the game has decided to pretty much even out the supports. They've roamed towards the bottom lane. The disruption on the Bristleback, and that's a lot of DPS and enough body blocking. There's really not much they can do, or the Bristleback can do in that situation. If you also look, though, the Dire End, this is their only ward that they have. They have one ward. Other than that, nothing else. So maybe additional wards could help them survive a bit longer. And the bottom tower taking a little bit of heat. This Chen, I feel like he's doing very minimal farming or jungling and relying on getting most of his experience through gold. And that's pretty much a free tier 1 tower. Nyx Vendetting into the bot lane. This is a 2v3 scenario. Oh, the disruption's good. And ultimate following in from the Gyrocopter. Look at the DPS there. That's just insane. And the Gyrocopter's got to be very careful. He could turn this around on the Nyx Assassin. Ooh, Sunstrike. Not enough. Both of them TP out, by the way. The Shrek did manage to TP out. So overall, nice gank. This Bristleback is just... He is 0-4. He doesn't even have boots. That's a pretty grave scenario for a Bristleback. He needs at least a few of his items to really become, you know, useful to his team. And for now, he's pretty much dead weight. Could see a few better gank attempts, or at least counter gank attempts from the Nyx Assassin as well. He hasn't really made a huge difference throughout the game. Has one assist at least, but other than that, not too much. OD looks like he wants to trade out an imprisonment for a stun. Nyx says he'll take it. Ooh, this Timber Saw. I mean, they know where he is. And I guess he can Timber Train to the other side of the map. For now, he just wants to pull a few creeps and to get, you know, a little bit of experience. But it's not going to work. Dire End, knowing what's up, prevents that creep pull from happening. Alright, a little bit more roaming from the Leshrac. Towards the mid lane, they're going to go for the Astral Imprisonment. Leshrac, though, he doesn't want to do anything. I felt like that could have been a potential gank. They could have potentially killed the Nyx Assassin there. And Leshrac, he's okay just doing whatever. Looking at some trees. Alright, well, Shadow Demon going to do a little bit of warding and dewarding. Ooh. Okay. Outworld Devour gets the imprisonment on. Shadow Demon following it up with an imprisonment of his own. Just being annoying. The Split Earth, though, it's missed. Wouldn't have really mattered because of the Spike Carapace from Nyx Assassin. But he's losing a lot of intelligence. Doesn't really have too much. Ooh, Invoker. They're going on the Timber Saw. Ooh, I'm not even sure if that hit. That was pretty crazy. You know what, I want to go back 10 seconds. I'm going to check that out. I actually think that hit the Timber Saw. I think it hit it. I think it hit him. That was pretty crazy, though. Well, no dead Timber Saw. Just an OD continuing to steal mana from the Nyx Assassin. Bristleback's decided to move towards the mid lane. We also have the Park with his creep army. Or creep brigade, that's not much of an army. Near the mid lane. Alright, the creeps are moving in. Can they get a slower stun? The stun's the key to the initiation. I think the Park will move in if he can get a stun on someone. There's a lot of kind of just delaying tactics, delaying abilities from the Radiant end of heroes. You have the Imprisonment, you have the Disruption, and both of those abilities from the Odian Shadow Demon, it's really hard to pick them off. Nyx is minute up. Not too much time left. Okay, he's going to go in for it. Gets a double stun. Very nice. Disruption on the Shadow Demon. Disrupting himself. Nice by Carapace. But the ultimate from the OD helps secure a kill on the Nyx Assassin. Bristleback's deciding... Nope. He's deciding he does not want to join the fighter. He can't figure out what he wants to do. Gyrocopter's just going to continue farming up on his merry way. He has 100 last hits, 12 minutes in the game. That's absolutely absurd. He is farming extremely, extremely efficiently. And that's just going to give him a lot of good items. Mask of Madness, interesting item pickup for the Gyrocopter. Generally, we'll see... Okay, never mind. He fixed that up to Helm of the Dominator. I was going to say, certainly unorthodox.
Methinks you wanted that.
Okay, once again, we have the roaming support smoked up. Ready to move to the top lane. Could be a 3v2 scenario. The Nyx Assassin, he's hiding though. He has his Vendetta ready. I think they're counting on a gank coming through. Okay, they see the heroes. Can they go ahead and get the DPS and stun on the Leshrac? That Shadow Demon forced to burn all of his wand damage. And it's going to be a trade. Not a trade anymore. That's a 2-for-1. Definitely favoring the Dire side, and this could actually... It could go either way. The Venomancer low on health. Gyrocopter moves in, gets a kill. Timbersaw, can he survive? He's tanky, but I don't know if he's that tanky. Down to the last few ups. Non-lethal damage. Timbersaw survives. Very close, but the reactive armor worth its weight in gold. You can even see 1 point in Whirling Death, 3 in reactive armor. Really focusing on that survivability. Alright, well, Karn's decided to pick up a Hand of Midas. Doesn't have too much interesting items beyond that. Looking at the EXP graph, a little bit of an advantage for the Radiant. Nothing too crazy, still early in the game. The gold difference, though, is a little bit more noticeable at 7,500. With a Midas now on Karn, kind of counteracts the Midas that the Invoker has. Well, speaking of Invoker, he's moving towards the mid lane. Will he go for a Cold Snap and a lot of additional DPS? Park moving in as well. This is going to turn into one big team fight from the look of things. And looks like Team Radiant moving on to the mid lane. Nice disruption to keep that OD alive for a little bit longer. Goes invisible as well to stay alive. Lots of stuns going back and forth. Absolute chaos in the middle. The tower goes down. Gyrocopter does a lot of AoE damage, but he falls along with the Venomancer on the other side. Bristleback already out of the picture. Karn, can he stay alive? He's running away from those Forged Spirits. They are chasing. Leshrac as well nearby to help out. And it became a 2-for-1 scenario. Timbersaw, though, he's got to get out of there. Despite how tanky he is, there's too much firepower here, and the Timbersaw's going to end up dying. I think OD accidentally casted that on himself. That imprisonment over his teammate. A little bit unfortunate misplay from the look of things. And this Chen leading the board as far as kills go, 5-0. He's going to have a mechanism, however you want to pronounce it. So that's pretty nice. Support's doing good on the Dire end of things. Unfortunately, their carries... I mean, Invoker's doing okay, but I mean, he's not a really heavy late game carry. He can kind of semi-carry, I feel, and I mean, if they're doing really good, he can somewhat pick up that carry role as long as the game doesn't take too long. And the Bristleback certainly can be a carry hero as well, but generally he's just better at tanking up damage, doing a lot of soaking up. Uh-oh. Shadow Demon. Is he gonna go for it? Or is he waiting? Okay. He's... Ooh. A little bit unfortunate. Misses the stun. I feel like that was a pretty easy one. Nice reaction, though, getting the Spark Carapace off beforehand. Trying the TP out. Not enough. The DPS is too great for the Radiant end. Yeah, in those 1v1 scenarios, Rocket Barrage from the Gyrocopter. Not as effective against multiple units, but against one, certainly useful. Ooh, nice Sunstrike on the Timber Saw. That's the pure damage, don't forget. A lot of build-up in the mid lane. It could be a 4v5 scenario. The Dire are down a hero. And I might add, I feel like the better overall hero composition is, at least when we get to the later stages of the game, will be on the Radiant end. Our Will Devourer has the mech. Shadow Demon has a buckler, but it looks like he probably won't be moving into the mech. Leshrac gets hit a few times by the Forged Spirits, and ooh, he was actually really low on health there for a second. Disruption just guaranteeing that he gets a few more ticks from the urn. Soul Release helping out. And the Dire team, they're moving towards the top. Ultimate on the Invoker, really slowing him down, going to be doing lots of damage. Following that up, a complete miss on the Gyro Ultimate, but it looks like they're going to get the next Assassin regardless. His Spike Carapace is on cooldown, and the OD Ultimate finishes him off. Venomancer releasing his Ultimate as well. Try to dish back some of the damage the OT has managed to do. Buyback from the Nyx Assassin. He's already part of the fight. Disruption. Keeping Shadow Demon alive for a little bit longer. Lots of low health heroes on the Dire side. Gyrocopter is moving in. Look at this. They're all so low on health. And Timber Saw. There you go. Whirling Death secures a kill. And ooh. Sick blink, very sick blink from the Invoker. Saves his life there at the last second. The Shark forces TP out. A lot of low heroes on the Dire end. Ooh, Invoker looking to try to do a bit of damage from behind. Unfortunately, the Nyx Assassin, that's 2-0. I guess 0-2 for the Nyx, as he's dead. Invisibility from the Invoker, doing a little bit of ghost walking. Gonna avoid a gank. However, this Venomancer may not be so lucky. The Shadow Demon has managed to do a ridiculous amount of DPS. Yeah. Nice moves from the Shadow Demon. Despite being a support hero, he can dish out the damage if he can get his Soul Catcher plus the ultimate on an enemy hero. It's 18-10, and let's check out the gold. It's starting to really favor the Radiant, definitely EXP as well. Tower-wise, the Radiant still have every single one of their Tier 1 towers, and Dire end, they aren't so lucky. Gyro's farming like a madman. OD behind him, not too far behind him, but certainly ahead of the Invoker at 80. Who's kind of played as one of the more carry-heavy roles. So, the later this game goes on, the worse it's going to get, I feel, for Team Dire. Okay. Looks like we have another push potentially happening from the Radiant end. There's a lot of Dire ready to defend their tower. Also wondering, we have Roshan. Do a little bit of Rochambeauing. Timber Saw? No, not getting the invisibility. Okay, there he goes. I don't think Karn really cares too much, even though he has a bottle. Okay, well, it looks like the Radiant ends. Oh, also interesting to note, Timber Saw's picked up a gem. Already has a Bloodstone. Ooh, this is a potentially dangerous area for him. Karn, though, almost using himself as bait. We have the Nyx Assassin move forward, and they're going to go ahead and imprison him. Still gets the stun on the Nyx Assassin, but at least dishes the damage back. He falls very, very quickly, and this is not a fight that the Dire side wants to do. Shadow Demon blinks in, gets a disruption on the Park. Chen doesn't even get to use his ultimate. Venomancer's up next. He's in for a world of pain. Down he goes. Invoker could end up being last. He's blinking away, though. Yeah, he has to get out of there. The Dire are going to continue the chase. Unfortunately, no mana for a disruption. I think the Shadow Demon was almost enraged. They're really chasing him halfway across the map. I think maybe it would have been a little bit better for the Radiants to just go ahead and say, alright, we beat you guys in the team fight once again. Time to collect a free tower or two. They are going to collect the tower. That TP feels almost wasted.
Green dude's top thing is about to get knocked over.
Alright, well, Gyrocopter is just going to go ahead. Farm off all these creeps. He already has a BKB. Has the drums. Lots of... so his name Invoker. Wanting to do what he can. Ooh! Nice blink forward. Does he have the DPS though? Actually! Holy crap. Gyrocopter with the call down. Gets the kill on the Invoker. And the Chen. He has to be very careful against the Timbersaw as well. Timbersaw doesn't want to linger around too long. He is certainly behind enemy lines in enemy territory. Oh, that's actually in range to see the other Sentry Ward. Alright, next Assassin. Trying to go on the Leshrac. Man, he just, unfortunately, he can't hit these Impales. It's not working out that well for him. Ooh, Timbersaw, he wants to be aggressive. And that gem is really becoming quite handy. Picked off a Sentry Ward for free. Okay. That ward's now spotted as well. Ooh, Shadow Demon. Gets slowed a little bit by the Hellbear Smasher. Timbersaw not afraid to burst down the Hellbear. And he's gonna get the Sentry Ward as well.
Tower is under attack.
Well, the situation is looking extremely good for the Radiant End. They've managed to get all Tier 1 towers, one of the Tier 2. They have such initiation ability, as we can clearly see here. Disruption on the Nyx Assassin, forcing him to use the Spike Carapace. He's going to fall down, potentially shortly is after. Chen ultimate use, not enough to save the Vanomancer. Who's going to go down next? Not the Nyx Assassin, he's ported home. He's coming back to help out. Invoker doing a little bit of delaying with a Deafening Blast. But, I mean, I don't think they can even defend this tower at this point. The initiation and the overall tankiness is just too much. Well, disruption on the Nyx. He has the Spiked Carapace available. If he wants to use it, he's going to have to use it at the perfect time. The mid tower falls. Leshrac definitely using the Diabolic Edict to help him out. Look at Timbersaw diving. 1v4. Ultimate from the OD instantly picks off the Nyx Assassin. Big Meatball moving out, trying to pick off the Timbersaw. He's low on health. Misses the Timber Chain. Doesn't really matter. OD going ham on the Vanomancer. He falls with the help of the Shadow Demon. Holy crap, managing to stay alive. And all of a sudden, holy crap, where did the Dire team go? Well, since they're on the Dire team, it looks like they've ended up in hell. And the GG is called. That'll be it for this game of the Korean Elite League. My name is Whiplash. It has been a pleasure casting this game. And once again, if you would like to check out a little bit more information on the league, I will have a link in the description. There's your final score tally, 28-10 on the Radiant End. Thank you everybody for watching. If you like the videos, feel free to subscribe. And this is Whiplash signing out.